What's up everyone, Darkblade here bringing you my thoughts and feelings on this year's E3, 2012's Electronics Entertainment Expo. Basically, I'm using this as a chance to talk about the games that caught my eye or that are getting me the most hyped. It also gives me an opportunity to see what other people out there think about the games that I might like to get in the future. At the time of recording this, the event is still technically going on, but all the major players have done their conferences and shown off their new toys and their new tech, so I feel quite confident that I've seen all there is to see from E3 2012. Anyway, E3 2012, I don't think it was quite as good as last year's lineup. I mean, last year was an amazing year for gaming. This year is looking to be pretty good, but I still think it won't be able to top the amount of decent games that came out last year. The three big players' conferences seemed, well, to be what I expected from E3. There's nothing wrong with them, and that Nintendo obviously had a bit of an edge because they were showing off really new hardware with the Wii U, which I still think is a silly name, but oh well. But anyway, I don't want to go into a pissing contest about who had the better conference, because at the end of the day, to me, all that matters is the games. So without further ado, I am going to get into my favourite games that caught my eye for E3 2012. I've listed the games here in order of who makes the games, so I can keep track of who's making what and what I should possibly get in the future. Anyway, without further ado, 2K Games, Borderlands 2. I enjoyed the first Borderlands, but unfortunately I fell out of playing it because, well, my teammates and that kind of, well, stopped, and playing it on your own is not as enjoyable as playing it with a group of friends. But hopefully they'll get back into it with Borderlands 2, and hopefully it can fire a passion for the franchise again. I really enjoyed the art style of the whole Borderlands franchise, and I'm glad to see that Borderlands 2 is no different. It looks even probably better than the first one. From Activision, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Now, out of all the Call of Duties, Black Ops has been the only one that I can actually say I thoroughly enjoyed. I did not like Modern Warfare 3 in the end. Modern Warfare 2 I did not like. And, well, and then there's all the other ones in the franchise. Anyway, Black Ops 2. I said I would only continue to buy the Call of Duty franchise if they came out with Black Ops 2. And they have this year, so it looks like I'll be getting it. A slightly modern shooter, shall we say. It's slightly set in the future, not modern day times, but a slightly futuristic shooter I think is good, and it's a little bit of a risk, and I commend them for going far in the future instead of staying with modern day shooter times and World War. So let's see what happens with that. It'll probably sell great. I mean, it's Call of Duty and they've got their legions of followers that kind of blindly follow despite it being the same each year, but I am hoping that this one will be slightly different. A second game from Activision that has been on my radar for quite some time now is Transformers Fall of Cybertron. As a kid, I loved Transformers, especially the Generation 1 Transformers, and seeing as this is more in canon with Generation 1 rather than the movies, I have been a fan of the Cybertron series, starting with Transformers War for Cybertron, and this game is looking even better. It's being improved upon. I enjoyed the multiplayer, and the single player looks amazing. Dinobots, can't wait. Really looking forward to this one. This is probably one of my most look forward to games of 2012. From Bethesda, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Dawnguard DLC. Although, to be honest, from listening to them, it's almost like an expansion pack. It's probably going to be quite a substantial downloadable content, so it's going to be costly probably. But the good thing is it's going to last like 20 hours, they've said. It's looking good, and I'm glad they've expanded upon the whole vampire options you can do in Skyrim. The other game from Bethesda is The Elder Scrolls Online, basically the Elder Scrolls MMO almost. So unfortunately I won't be getting it because I haven't got a PC good enough to run it, but it looked quite interesting to me. From Capcom, RE6, Resident Evil 6. Although I have fallen out a little bit of love with the Resident Evil franchise in the past few games and that, I thoroughly enjoyed Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5 was okay. I tend to stick to the numbered Resident Evil, so I'll probably pick this one up as long as the reviews are good, or maybe when I get my hands on a demo. I'd love to hear what you think about RE6. EA jumped onto my radar thanks to Dead Space 3. I am a good, loyal fan of the Dead Space franchise. I love it. It's like one of the only survival horror games still going, even though it's becoming more actiony. But it still gives me chills occasionally when I'm playing it in the dark alone. And I hope that Dead Space 3 won't disappoint. It's actually got co-op play in it now as well. That should be very interesting. I wonder how that's going to work. But I'm looking forward to Dead Space 3. From Microsoft, I'm interested to see how Halo 4 turns out, thanks to Bungie moving on to different pastures. Also from Microsoft, the Gears of War project. Really looking forward to that. I know I may not be the biggest Microsoft fan, but the Gears franchise I really enjoy. It's probably my favourite Microsoft Xbox 360 game franchise out there. And it's going to star Baird. I know many people may not like him, but he was always one of my favourite characters in the game, cocky as he was. Nintendo had a ton of games showing off for the Wii U, but out of all of them, the one that caught my eye the most, and I'm a bit disappointed that it's a Wii U exclusive, is Rayman Legends. I loved Rayman Origins, and now there's going to be a game continuing it called Rayman Legends on the Wii U. Obviously it's going to utilise the Wii U's unique control pad functionality of the screen on the control pad, but I guess that's why it's on the Wii U and not the other consoles, but I still couldn't see why they couldn't do something about it. Anyway, Sony had a lot on offering that I was interested in. Mainly, the three ones that stood out for me were The Last of Us from Naughty Dog. I really love Naughty Dog and all their games, and The Last of Us looks really good. And it's good to see a new IP out there instead of a continuation of a series. So I'm really looking forward to The Last of Us. The gameplay trailer they showed, it was like eye candy, put it that way. It was a joy to watch, and I'm really looking forward to playing this game. I hope you are too. I am actually interested in to see if they put any sort of multiplayer in the game, like they did with their Uncharted franchise. Part of me hopes not, but part of me also does hope that they do it. But, oh well. Another Sony game that caught my eye was Beyond Two Souls, another new IP from the makers of Heavy Rain. This is not going to be released this year, and this is probably nowhere close to being released at all. It might even be next generation, who knows. But it did look interesting, and if you haven't seen the trailer, go watch it. The biggest game from Sony that really caught my eye, although it's Santa Monica Studios, it's God of War Ascension. I love the God of War franchise, and this really did caught my eye. I am so interested to see how this is going to revolve around Kratos' ending in the end of the third one. And I want to see how the multiplayer works in it as well. I am really hoping that the multiplayer doesn't screw up the game or the feel of the game. As you can see, the gameplay I'm using is in honour to this game, God of War Ascension. This is God of War 3, my favourite boss fight in it. It still looks like one of the best games on the PlayStation 3 in my opinion as well. From what I saw and what I read at E3, it seems that God of War Ascension is going to be a prequel to the existing God of War games. Anyway, God of War Ascension, really looking forward to it. The combat seems God of War-ish. There also seems to be a little element of the Prince of Persia Sands of Time in there, with the whole reconstructing broken down towers and stuff like that. If you saw the gameplay footage during E3, you would know what I'm on about. But it's looking good, put it that way. There are so many other games out there as well. Although, actually, I should give a shout out to Assassin's Creed 3. I am looking forward to that. Although I'm a little bit apprehensive about it being British. But I'm joking. But I'm really looking forward to Assassin's Creed 3. I hope that we finally see what happens to Desmond in this, rather than getting to know a new ancestor in Connor. Anyway, there are so many games at E3 2012 that I can't talk about all of them without going on to about a 20-minute or 30-minute video, so I'm going to cut it short in a minute. But there was so many others out there that caught my eye, like Metal Gear Rising, the new Devil May Cry, although I'm a little bit apprehensive about that, Sleeping Dogs, Watch Dog. There's so many out there. Please, leave in the comments what you think your top 5 games of E3 2012 was. Also, potentially, what are going to be your top 5 games coming out at the end of the year, which normally is what coincides with E3. There are some games that don't come out at the end of the year. For example, the God of War Ascension isn't out to the first or second quarter of 2013, but oh well. overall, E3 2012 wasn't a bad one, but not the greatest one out there, I think. I think there has been better, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching the live streams and learning about all the great new games that are going to be coming out soon. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Darkblade, talking about my thoughts and my favourite games of E3 2012. Don't forget to leave a comment about your most anticipated games. Thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.